So the Season 2 trailer for Battlefield 6 just dropped, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this update could completely change how the game is played. We're looking at darker combat, psychological warfare elements, new maps built for chaos, and mechanics that might force players to rethink their entire strategy. Season 2 looks less like a routine content drop and more like a shift in direction. Instead of simply adding weapons and calling it a day, the developers seem focused on changing the atmosphere of combat and making battles feel more intense, more predictable, and honestly more stressful in the best way possible. From what we saw in the trailer, this season leans heavily into environmental pressure, limiting visibility, disorienting players, and forcing squads to rely on coordination instead of lone wolf gameplay. In other words, running around without a plan might get you eliminated very quickly. One of the biggest takeaways from the trailer is the introduction of battlefield conditions designed to mess with the players, not just physically, but mentally. We're talking about situations where your awareness is compromised, where you might not fully trust what you're seeing, and where hesitation could cost your team an objective. This is a smart move for Battlefield because the franchise has always thrived when it creates those unscripted, only in Battlefield moments. Based on the trailer, the new maps don't just look bigger, they look more intentional. There seems to be a stronger focus on layered combat spaces, areas where long-range players can control sight lines, while tighter zones reward aggressive squads pushing objectives. So basically, good map design isn't just about scale, it's about decision making. Do you take the safe route? Do you risk crossing open ground? Or do you wait for backup? If these maps play the way they look, positioning is about to matter a lot more. Another major theme this season is reduced visibility, and this is bigger than people realize. When players can't see clearly, the entire pace of the match changes. Instead of constant explosive chaos, you get tension, that feeling that something could go wrong at any second. Personally, I love this direction because it raises the skill ceiling. Awareness becomes just as important as aim. Battlefield is always at its best when the sandbox is alive. Vehicles moving in, infantry pushing behind them, air support changing the momentum of a fight. From what the trailer hints at, Season 2 looks ready to lean back into that strength. Fast transport options should help squads stay mobile, while usually leads to more dynamic objectives instead of stagnant firefights. Whenever mobility increases, creativity follows. Expect flanks, expect surprise attacks, expect absolute madness. A new season always shakes up the weapon meta, and that's a good thing. Whenever players are forced to experiment again, the games feel more fresh. What I'm hoping for this season isn't just stronger weapons, but meaningful trade-offs. The best shooters reward smart loadout decisions. Do you build for range, speed, control, team support, etc., etc. If Season 2 balances that correctly, we could see a much more healthier gameplay loop. But here's what really stands out to me. Season 2 doesn't look focused on spectacle alone, it looks focused on immersion. Instead of just throwing more explosions at players, it seems designed to create pressure. Moments where your squad has to adapt on the fly. Moments where the battlefield feels hostile, and moments where survival actually feels earned. So what could this mean for the game's future? If this season lands the way the developers intend, it could signal a really positive trajectory. Because strong live service games evolve, they don't stay predictable. When players log in and genuinely don't know how a match will unfold, that's when a shooter keeps its community. Season 2 might be less about adding content and more about redefining the experience. Now, I have some concerns. Now, with any major gameplay shift, there's always a question of balance. Too much visual disruption can frustrate players, too little, and the mechanics feel pointless. So the real test will be execution. Are these features enhancing strategy or just creating chaos? I guess we'll just have to find out once the season goes live. So my final verdict, based on the trailer and the info that they gave us, from everything we've seen so far, Season 2 looks ambitious. It doesn't seem safe or repetitive, but it feels very ambitious. It appears to push Battlefield toward deeper squad play, smarter positioning, and more immersive combat. And if you ask me, that's exactly the direction this franchise should be moving. Now, I want to hear from you. Did the trailer get you hyped? Are you jumping into Season 2 on day one? Or are you waiting to see how it plays? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, and I look forward to reading them. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more Battlefield coverage, and stick around because we'll be breaking down gameplay the moment the season launches. I'll see you soon on the Battlefield.